This is how to run a faster 5K than you have ever done before. There's a lot of advice out there about how to run faster for longer, but I wanted to break it all down and show you what works really well for me. So in my first ever ParkRun 5K, I ran it in 18:35 at the age of 39. I'd only been running for a few months at that time. It was a really muddy day, so I think I could have even run faster. And 2 years later, I ran the same course in 16:14. So a big improvement over that time. I also ran a 15:38 5K split during the London Marathon this year when I finished the marathon in 2 hours, 24 minutes at 42 years old. So I just wanted to show you the 5K training that's worked for me to get me faster quickly. Quick bit about me. As I said, I ran the London Marathon this year in 2 hours, 24 minutes and 31 seconds. I'm 42 years old. I'd only been running for 3.5 years at the time. And in this channel, I share with you my tips and tricks for running faster and getting faster quicker. Right, I'm going to share with you now my 4 main tips for running a faster 5K. I'm going to share the most important one at the end, but they're all really important. Hill sprints and general hill training. Looking back when I first started running and to the period when I ran that 5K ParkRun, I was doing a lot of hill sprints, and that really, really helped get my fitness to a decent level quickly. I think the hill sprints built up my strength, my endurance, my cadence, so I could turn over my legs quickly. And then when I came to running a 5K, I could run much faster because I'd been pushing myself up those hills and running faster up those hills, and running on a flat surface then actually felt really easy. I also started doing some longer tempo hill runs, so maybe over 1,000 meters or 800 meters, running up a gentler hill, but at a steady-ish pace. I found that was hard, really hard, but it really, really made me fitter. It really boosted my aerobic fitness, my aerobic endurance, my strength again, and helped with speed. It kind of helps everything. I mean, it makes sense, right? When you're running up hills, you're running against resistance. When you're running on a flat surface or downhill, you're not. So if you constantly run up hills, it's going to feel a lot easier when you're running on a flat surface. So if I was going to do this now to get faster for a 5K, there's 3 things I would do. First one is hill sprints. So I'd run for 30 to 40 seconds up a steep hill. And as I ran down again, I'd recover. And if I needed a little more time, I'd recover a bit more at the bottom. But then I'd run back up again. I'd do that for 6 to 8 times, depending on how I felt. I'd try and do that once a week. I mean, the recovery in between the reps can vary. It's ideal if over time you can start reducing that recovery time down. At first, you're going to find it really hard, but gradually reduce that time down and it'll start feeling easier to you. I'm not going to say it's ever going to feel easy, because from my experience, hill sprints never feel easy, but they're incredibly good for you, incredibly good for your running. The second thing I do when it comes to hill running is run up a hill that's longer, maybe 800 meters to 1,000 meters, but run up at a steady pace. So not an easy pace, not all out pace, but a steady-ish in between pace. And again, do that 8 times and recover as you're coming back down again to start the next rep. I would say for me, sometimes the recovery, because you're running down again, it takes a long time. So I generally start off running back down the hill slowly, and as I felt better and as I started to recover, I'd start running back down faster again to then be able to start my next rep. For the time in between that, again, just start reducing your recovery time down. You might find it takes a few minutes at first, but then gradually reduce that down, because you are going to be recovering as you run back down the hill again. The third thing I'll do when it comes to hill running is just to incorporate hills into my everyday running schedule. If you live in a hilly place and you're lucky enough to incorporate hills into your route every day, you'll find benefit from that. You know, the more you incorporate hills, the easy you'll find it when you have to run in hills in a race, or when you just have to run a normal flat race. Hills are like that secret ingredient that make you faster. And I think for running a faster 5K, hills are perfect, because in 5Ks, you've got to really run at a fast pace. You've got to have that endurance, you've got to have that strength, you've got to have that speed. And hills include all those things. Run a little bit faster than your 5K pace as much as you can. When I first started running and when I got fast quickly, I would run fast a lot. I don't say run fast all the time, because I think that's a recipe for injuries, but if you can run fast once a week, you will really notice an improvement, especially for the 5K. If I was to start training for a 5K now, one of the main things I would do would be to run 8 to 10 400-meter intervals, each at a pace faster than my current 5K pace is, and then gradually move up distances, so then run 800-meter intervals and 1K intervals. And if I could gradually reduce my recovery time down between each rep over time, I know then that I'd be ready to run a faster 5K than I ever have before. So let's say you're running the 400-meter intervals, and initially you're giving yourself a rest of 2 minutes between the intervals. Gradually start reducing that rest period down, and you'll find that running the actual 5K race becomes a lot easier. This kind of training's hard, and I always need to give myself time to recover after doing anything like this. So a week or even 2 sometimes, if you've just started out doing this, will be needed, because it'll be too much for your body to take when you start doing this. But gradually build up the length of the reps, gradually reduce the recovery time in between the reps, run a little bit faster than your 5K pace, and it'll really improve your race times. Run a lot of consistent mileage. Running a 5K is up to 93% aerobic, so you need to build up a big aerobic base. And you do this by running lots of consistent high mileage. You build up a big aerobic base by running a large volume of runs at a steady and an easy pace. And that's how I built up my aerobic fitness over time, not just to run 5Ks, but to run half marathons and marathons in fast times. An easy pace for me would be a pace where I'd be able to have a conversation with somebody else, where it didn't feel too hard, it was just enjoyable, leisurely run. A steady pace would be a bit harder than this, but not to the point where you're gasping for breath and you're really out of breath, where you're running harder than easy, but not too hard. To get the miles in, you can run one longer run a week, so you could run 60 to 90 minutes a week, and then shorter runs in between as often as you can, so 45 minutes to an hour in the week, as often as you can, as often as your body feels like you're able to. That will help build up that aerobic base and that aerobic fitness, which will make you faster. You'll also then find that you're able to do your interval training and your hill training much better, because your aerobic fitness will gradually build up. Now, this kind of fitness does take time. It takes longer to build up, but it's really worth it, and it's really, really rewarding when you build up this aerobic base, because it makes everything else so much easier, and it gradually makes you faster, fitter, have more endurance, stronger, turns you into a running machine, higher the volume of running that you do. Consistency. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I go on about this. But if you aren't consistent with your running, if you don't train regularly, if you don't go out for runs regularly, all these things that I've told you to do won't amount to much. You need to keep consistent with your running. That's how I ran fast times. By consistency, I mean week after week, month after month, year after year. If you can do that, your results will skyrocket. But it does take time, patience, and energy to get that right and to constantly be consistent. It's not just physically, it's mentally as well. Getting yourself out the door every day isn't easy, I know that, but if you want the results, this is huge. The most common mistake I see people make is they have bursts of motivation. They've got a goal, they for a few weeks, they're really motivated, and then it kind of drops off and they lose their motivation, and then it picks up again and they're motivated again. Believe me, I've done this. I do this all the time. That is the thing we've got to get over, is that we just need to be consistent all the time, and our results will just keep improving over time. find goals, find goal races that you want to run, find target times that you want to run, tell people about the times that you want to run, and make yourself accountable. These are the kind of things that will help you stay motivated and kind of keep you in check. If you want to be consistent as well, put your running clothes out the night before so you don't have to think too much about it in the morning. You get up and you run. These little things are what help us be consistent every day, and these kind of things have really helped me be consistent. And as I've been consistent, my times have just improved so much. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you found the video useful. It really helps. Thanks so much.